Every year, around this time, there's a question that we must answer. And I feel like no matter how you answer that question, it's considered a hot take, which is weird because no one should care that much about the answer to this question. And that question, of course, is turkey over or underrated?
The answer to that question is if it's wrapped in bacon, a la the Swanson from Parks and Rec, it is perfectly rated. Brothers and sisters in Christ, welcome to another episode of Cross Checking. I am one of your hosts, Pastor Ben Olschlager, out here in honestly kind of gray and miserable Michigan today. With me today, as
It's the
always,
most honest you have ever been about what it's like in Michigan.
it's just one of those days. It's a little bit gross. It's not everybody's favorite day. With me again, as always, is our
Pastor Josh Laborious down here in Friendswood, Texas, where it is like
Some
high
temperature.
70s, low 80s, sunny with just a few clouds to look pretty. It's a pretty good day.
It's a shame this man will never see snow on Christmas.
Probably not. Well, last year it did snow here. We moved in, and then like the day we moved in, there was a typhoon, and it was hot, and then the next week it snowed. So it was a time.
Again, Texas should not exist, but we're not.
Whoa. Easily top 3 states in the country, my guy. What are you talking about?
Elitist. Anyway,
I didn't say it was the number 1. I said top 3.
Yeah, and you're putting what, Georgia and Tennessee up there in the rest of your top 3?
Tennessee, yes. Georgia, it depends on the day. Georgia's maybe top 5, but I don't know if I'd go top 3.
Anyway,
we're
not
here to talk
rank
about Thanksgiving, not states. Just so you know, our comments are probably going to be filled with people supporting Texas supremacy. So just so you're, not that you look at the comments regularly, but they're going to be there.
I fully recognize that. I'm not here to stand for Michigan. I still think Minnesota's a better state, and all of my people will give me crap for that, and that's fine.
It's never stopped you before.
Nope.
It's not going to stop you now.
Nope, absolutely not.
But before we talk about Thanksgiving, Ben.
Yeah.
Are you cooking a turkey this year?
Heck yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving food. And since we didn't really have a plan for this episode, I think that's an okay place to start. I want to know, are you cooking the turkey? And if so, how are you cooking your turkey?
So I'm just roasting a turkey. I have roasted it.
You're gonna make fun of it? You gonna?
No.
I'm picturing Ben just making fun of a turkey on the counter until it got so embarrassed that it's cooked all the way through.
You've heard my jokes. Some of them are pretty bad, to the point where at some point this turkey's just going to cook itself out of shame.
Or get up and walk off the counter.
That's also possible.
Anyone does a lot with AI and you want to do an AI generated video of Ben making fun of a turkey until it walks out of his house, that I would really, really appreciate having that file.
Anyway, if anyone is actually interested, I'm planning on oven roasting this bird. I've had smoked turkey in the past. I've grilled a turkey in the past. I've never deep fried. I want to try it at some point, but I'm not brave enough to at this point, or dumb enough.
I want to deep fry it at someone else's house.
No, I want to deep fry it in the middle of the church parking lot where I can't set anything on fire.
Not with that attitude.
Fair. I mean, there are many good ways to cook a turkey.
Don't boil it. That's wrong. It's incorrect.
Yes, unless you're making it into soup, in which case that you can get away with that. Because turkey soup is also pretty good.
I can't say I've ever had turkey soup.
Like leftover Thanksgiving turkey, shred it up, made in the style of like chicken noodle, or I make it in the style of um, corn chowder, but with turkey. Pretty good. Pretty good.
I could be
Anyway.
convinced. No.
Yep. Oh, and with cheddar cheese. So it's corn, like a cheesy corn chowder with turkey.
Cheese honestly does just make most things better.
It really
Sorry
does.
for any of you who are listening and lactose intolerant, but
We're actually sorry that God made you broken.
no, the sinful world broke you. Although I have to be honest, 99% of the people I've met who are lactose intolerant have very much an attitude of screw it, I'm going to do it anyway.
Mm-hmm. I had a good friend from college who I remember once watching him eat ice cream, and he was just like alternating bites of ice cream and Lactaid. It was a sight to behold.
Oh man. Leaving that behind, I plan to brine my turkey.
Yep.
Probably on Tuesday, I'll start the brining process.
Do you wet brine or dry brine?
Wet, and then
Okay.
I will put a dry after that. Probably late on Wednesday, I'll put a rub on it and let it sit with the rub for a while, and then I'm smoking it on Thursday.
Nice.
Pretty excited. Memo to self: get pellets for my smoker.
Nice.
That's how I'm going to make my turkey. And then the sides, of course. What's your favorite side, Ben? We're going to get to a point eventually, I promise.
Yeah, I'm a mashed potatoes guy because, like, it's just another vehicle for more turkey.
So you're a big turkey. You really like turkey.
I do really like turkey. Yeah. I'm also a fan of green bean casserole because I'm from the Midwest, and it's actually called green bean hot dish because I'm from Minnesota.
That just sounds not as good, though.
It's so good.
I don't disagree with you, but calling it a hot dish instead of a casserole somehow makes it sound worse.
I don't know if we have any listeners in Minnesota at this point, but if we do, they will back me up in the comments. So in and amongst all the Texas supremacy comments, there will be one.
We call it a hot dish.
Minnesotan that's a hot dish supremacist. Yeah. Yeah.
I can rock with almost all the Thanksgiving sides, honestly. As long as they're well made, I don't care. I'll eat them all. I'll enjoy them all.
I also like a good homemade stuffing.
Couple of years ago, I tried. I made a cornbread stuffing. Like, I made cornbread from scratch, and then I made that into a stuffing. And I gotta be honest, I was a little disappointed by it. I tried something new, and I didn't like how it landed.
I'm of the mind that, like, cornbread's too crumbly, so it just doesn't make a good stuffing because it doesn't hold up to all the juice.
Yeah, and I don't think it absorbs as much.
Yeah, you need just like a good rustic. Like, go to the bakery or something, get a loaf that's already a day old, let it dry out a little further, and then you soak it in turkey juice, and you're like, you're in good shape.
Go to Texas Roadhouse and get some rolls. That's an idea that I'm gonna let percolate for a minute.
Are you also gonna put their the honey butter in the stuffing?
You know what? It's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea.
Well, before Josh and I start drooling on podcast, let's talk a little bit about Thanksgiving and and what's going on here. Josh, are you at all like me in that you think that it's kind of weird that we have a church tradition of, at least in many places, of having services on Thanksgiving?
I don't know if I would go so far as to say it's weird, because I definitely get it. In that in a startling turn of events, we as a culture have set aside a day to be grateful. And as Christians, we have a lot to be grateful for, right? So when I see a Thanksgiving Day service, I think that's fine because it is good for us to say, you know, we're going to take some time out of this day for gratitude, to show gratitude to God. I also don't think, because like Hope, we don't have a Thanksgiving service. I don't think there's anything wrong with that either, because first of all, every Sunday we should be showing our gratitude for everything God has given us. That's part of our service. That's why we have an offering. It's not like it's not just because we want to keep the church running. It's because that's one of the ways we show gratitude for what God has done, is we return some of His blessings to Him. And gratitude should be something that is very consistent. And Thanksgiving, at its core, is not a church holiday, right? It's an American holiday. So if you're, I don't think there's anything wrong with the church not holding it either, but so I don't really bat an eye either way. I'm not upset that I don't have to preach on a day that I'm going to be doing so much cooking. So
Yeah, that's fair.
So weird. Why do you think it's weird?
I think it's weird because normally, and to be fair, like there are plenty of accusations by people of the church stealing other like cultures and religions, traditions, and turning them into other things, which most of those roundly debunked, by the way. And if you keep making these kinds of accusations, then we will take Shark Week, and it will be
kidding.
We will take it, and it will be a week-long series of church feasts.
I'm picturing a shark swimming through the water wearing a Pope hat.
I mean, isn't that what it looks like anyway? We do believe the Pope's the Antichrist.
What? And are sharks the what? What?
I don't know. It's a shark and fish clothing.
Shark. Continue with what you were saying. I'm generating images.
I love this. But it's one of those times where like we've taken a quasi-national holiday and turned it into something that kind of borders religion, or we've tried to draw out the religious elements in a quasi-national holiday. And like I get it. It is trying to promote something good in doing that. I'm just not a huge fan of the fact that like we've made a church day out of something that is kind of endemic to us in the United States and Canada. So in Canada, they celebrate Thanksgiving on the wrong day.
Yeah, it's called Canadian Thanksgiving.
Yeah, there's a
lot of hockey at weird times that day.
There's a reason it's called Canadian Thanksgiving. It's like Canadian rules football. It's just wrong.
For those of you who are watching the video version of this, and if you're not watching, you can just go to this timestamp and check it out. I am now sharing a picture of a shark wearing a Pope hat, and it's everything I hoped it would be.
Yep.
So behave yourselves, or we're going to steal Shark Week.
I'm trying to think of what, like, at least one of those days has to be Jonah. Like a feast of Jonah or something.
Jonah being grateful, Thanksgiving. Jonah being grateful that it was a whale, not a shark.
Though it does say a great fish.
It's
And if we're
well,
gonna
and
take
I think some translations call it a leviathan,
yes,
which I just big fish.
which if we're gonna take this as literally as we possibly can, which is not necessarily what I'm saying we should do here, because I think back in that day they just didn't understand the difference between whales and fish.
I don't know if they cared. It's
Also true.
can I
Um,
catch it? Can I eat it?
yes. Can I burn its fat for oil? Um, yeah, could have been a giant shark. Could have been a whale shark.
I just was looking at the picture of all those teeth, and I think if I was Jonah, I would rather something without all those teeth. Honest, I mean,
That's
I would prefer not to almost die at sea and then be eaten by something just to then be spit out 3 days. I would like to avoid the whole situation.
but this also prompts the question. There are those who believe that Jonah actually died for those 3 days, which is why Jesus calls it the sign of Jonah. When 3 days later he's raised from the dead.
Huh.
Yeah, I don't. I think there's an official stance on that from the Lutheran Church, but I can't remember.
I can't say that I do either.
Regardless, yeah, we'll make one of the days of Shark Week the Feast of Jonah. One of
Just
them's
a quick note on in Jonah 2, Jonah prays to the Lord his God from the belly of the fish.
Okay, so he's not dead. Never mind.
Yeah.
Good call.
So Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I it's a little different because it's a holiday centered around a virtue. So while
Yeah.
it is a national holiday, it is not a nationalistic holiday.
That's
And I
fair.
think that's an important distinction. But at the same time, I don't think it's inappropriate to kind of put it in a bucket with, like, if you were to do a Veterans Day service to thank God for those who have been called into that vocation, or if you do a Memorial Day service to give thanks and kind of comfort those who have lost people in the service. Even if you were to do a 4th of July service and kind of focus on um, the abilities we have to worship freely, like, there's nothing wrong with any of those things, but there's also nothing wrong with not doing any of those things because they are more like these are things we have as a nation we do, but there's not necessarily any sort of scriptural mandate to do them.
Yeah, that's fair. Still think it's kind of odd.
Which I can understand that you think that, even if I'm not in the same place.
I think one of the other reasons that I think it's odd is that it does ultimately become kind of a service praising a virtue. Oh, turn the camera off, turn it back on again.
No, you were good. Don't touch it.
Well, I know I was good, but now it's just gonna freak out more later if I don't do that now. So I'm here. I'm back. We're all good. I think it can oftentimes become a service that praises a virtue rather than praises God. Like the sermon is often like very much around Thanksgiving, like the act of Thanksgiving. And while that's good, like we need to make sure that our Thanksgiving is actually pointed in the right direction and not just kind of the generic idea of being thankful. Um, for example, like the text that's given every year for Thanksgiving, we just had it come up in the lectionary a few weeks ago. It's the lepers that Jesus heals, and only one of them turns around and recognizes Jesus as the true source of his healing and gives thanks. So like this story is always the same. Like it was good that there was one that said thank you. Be like the one.
Yeah.
And pointed out to me recently that story has a lot to do with like, oh, maybe this guy's just recognizing that the center of their religious life is not actually the temple anymore, but it's Jesus.
Yeah, well, and I've also heard it like Jesus in his initial conversation with them told them to go, like he sent them to do something. So the other thought is, well, did the other nine continue on to do what they were? So yeah, I don't know if, or no, I'll phrase it like this. I think that if we reduce that parable to just don't forget to say thank you, that we are doing it a disservice, because there is
Mhm.
more to that teaching than just say thank you.
Yeah.
Although that's part of it, because Jesus does kind of, did no one but this foreigner come back to say to, so the gratitude element is there. But even in that, for us today, I think it's important to kind of, exactly what you said, keep in mind we're not just going for grateful vibes here. Like, there is a person to whom we owe our gratitude.
We
And
are
it's,
grateful for the copious amounts of protein we are about to consume.
indeed we are. Which, kind of transitioning that, another way people will maybe celebrate Thanksgiving is you go around the table and, what are you thankful for? I don't know how productive that is. It can, I mean, I guess it can be nice, and it can be a nice tradition. So if this is your family tradition, go for it. But it's one of those things where, if something is, if gratitude is so important, why would we only do it one day a year? And if it's only important enough to do one day a year, why is it important enough to delay the eating of the turkey so everyone can go around and fumble trying to come up with something to say they're especially thankful for? I think it would be better for us to cultivate a habit of being grateful to God and to the people that He's put into our lives. Um, I know it's not necessarily something that a lot of people do anymore. I don't think, but like writing thank you notes when you receive gifts is a good practice. Telling people more than once a year that you're grateful for whatever role they have in your life is a good practice.
Mhm.
And being thankful to God is certainly something you should do more often than once a year. In fact, when I'm teaching prayer to folks, there are a bunch of different acronyms that people use to teach prayer, but I tend to favor PART: praise, admit, request, and thank, so that every time you pray, thanksgiving is part of your prayer. So
I
it's
like
like, it's like those
taco.
things where people, they only show, like they go out of their way to show love for their spouse on their anniversary and on Valentine's Day, and it's like, you should not need it on those days, because you should be showing it all the time. Now, an asterisk on that is that can't just be your cop out for those days. If you're going to say that, you actually have to consistently show that love, and kind of just randomly do maybe the special or the extra nice things. Um, Otherwise, you're just kind of lazy, I think. So be grateful. Eat your turkey and your stuffing and your green bean casserole.
Hot dish.
Nerd. You're not in Minnesota anymore, Ben.
You can take the boy out of the Minnesota, but you can't take the Minnesota out of the boy. It's duck, duck, great duck till I die.
That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Anything else? Yeah, I have a transition for us, but it's away from Thanksgiving, actually. So is there anything else you think we should cover with Thanksgiving?
Um, yeah. Well, actually, not necessarily related to Thanksgiving. Are you going to get into the stuff that follows Thanksgiving?
Yes.
Okay. So I'll pitch this back to you then, Josh, because it seems like you got something you got teed up and thinking about. Um, I'm guessing you also love the beautiful irony that is we spend this day giving thanks, followed by the like two of the three greatest commercial holidays of the year on Black Friday and Cyber Monday, where we show our absolute lack of thankfulness by buying copious amounts of stuff that we may or may not need just because it is on sale.
That's exactly, and beautiful irony is exactly the words I was going to use. And
Great minds
it's
think alike.
depending on your soda depraved ones, so be careful with that.
It's fair.
Depending on your perspective, I know Cyber Monday, I know Small Business Saturday, like I'm aware. I'm just gonna say Black Friday. And for the rest of this podcast, when you hear me say Black Friday, hear all of it. But depending on your perspective, Black Friday has either gotten better or worse. From a certain perspective, it's gotten actually no, it's just worse, but for two different reasons. I misspoke. So it's either worse from kind of the gratitude perspective, because as my Amazon app keeps reminding me every time I've opened it for the last month, Black Friday deals start today. We're recording on November 20th, which is a full week before Thanksgiving. So even that day that we were supposed to set aside for gratitude has now includes more of the shopping. And it'll go on for days afterward. So we have this kind of, we're supposed to be grateful. And I think part of gratitude is also contentment, because there is something I think you are undermining your gratitude if at the same time you are saying this isn't good enough. Like if someone gives you a gift and it undermines, and you say thank you to them, it undermines that if you're immediately turning around and trying to trade up on that gift, or because that gift isn't good enough because you're not content with that gift. So when previously we turned from our gratitude to immediately this lack of contentment, and now in the midst of our gratitude we are scrolling through a showcase of our lack of contentment, we are undermining our gratitude. And the other reason that people say it's gotten worse, that leans into it more than it leans away from it, is the sales aren't as good as they used to be. And I think part of that is because it's like, oh, we're going to do these sales over a week, so we need to cut back. And like, hear me when I say, and I don't know what your habits are, Ben. I do Black Friday shopping. I've never really gone in person, but I'll scroll through Amazon. I will do my best to get a lot of Christmas gifts on Black Friday, because then I can get nicer gifts for people that I love and care about without exceeding my budget for those gifts.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I shop on Black Friday, and there have been several years in my history where Black Friday was the day we upgraded TVs. So like, I'm not I think it's ironic. I do think we have a problem with materialism and contentment, and I think we would be well served if we more critically asked ourselves, like, do I need this? Is this something that is good, is faithful, is a good stewardship, or am I just getting this because it's shiny and on quote unquote on sale? So like, I can say that, but at the same time, like, I shop on Black Friday too, and I recognize that.
I can give you a couple examples of like how we can think about that.
Oh,
So
please. Are you going to make me feel better or worse about myself? That's what I want to ask you before you go.
Yes.
Oh, go.
Okay.
Well,
so,
now I don't know how to feel.
First thing, I do think what you said there about like it's an opportunity to get slightly nicer stuff because everything's on sale. I like if you are using Black Friday to get Christmas shopping done and you want to, bless the people in your family with like actual things that they will enjoy and or are useful, great. If you're using Black Friday to just buy random crap that nobody actually wants so that you can say you got somebody a Christmas present, just don't. Give them a gift card to their favorite restaurant and call it a day.
If you are in Ben's congregation and you're listening to this, please go to Oriental Trading Company, find the most random thing you can, and deliver that to Ben as a Christmas gift. I should say the most random thing under $5. Please.
Same thing to you if you are a member of Josh's
Nope.
congregation.
This doesn't work both ways. Only in Michigan should you make purchases like this. Continue with your lesson of value.
Everything is bigger in Texas.
Including the Oriental Trading orders.
Yes. You've just set yourself up for this. I hope you know. Anyway, so I think if you're using that opportunity to buy stuff for other members of your family because you do want to bless them, great. There are things that you can get on Black Friday and the days following that like are otherwise difficult to get at a decent price. That's great. You can also use it as a practical thing. Like, Josh, I think we've both done this where we got DNA tests for our dogs around Black Friday because they're cheaper then, and then you can start to know like some of the warning signs that you should be looking out for in the specific breed of dog that you have, and you can better take care of them that way. Cool.
Oh, and the broader thing with that, like if you have a genuine need,
yeah,
and you're waiting so you can fulfill that
Friday.
need,
yeah,
like that is good stewardship. So those questions that I mentioned, we should ask these questions. That would be good stewardship. Like if you've been very carefully rationing your toilet paper so that you can stock up on Black Friday with on sale toilet paper, good on you. But also,
just buy the toilet paper. Be prepared. That's also a good biblical lesson. I feel that like I don't think I bought this phone on Black Friday, but I've bought probably 3 of my last.
Do you also have a Pixel 9? I noticed the iconic bar.
Pixel 7 Pro.
Oh, it's a square bar.
Sorry.
I like the Pixel line. We've been on Pixels for a while.
This is my first one, and I've appreciated it. Anyway, This is not an advertisement for Pixel phones.
No.
They do take good pictures of babies.
This is most certainly true.
Looking forward to that. But like if you use it to replace items in your household, like I've had a couple of times where found out my phone was dying over the summer and just limped it through to November so I could get a cheap phone come Black Friday. That makes sense. But if every year your Black Friday is your day to get a new TV because reasons, then like I get it. People like having a TV so that they can yell as they watch terrible hockey from the Nashville Predators.
Yep, that's me.
Wild aren't much better this year, I'll be honest. But like if you want to have that, you might as well buy a TV when they're cheap, or you can get one secondhand. But if you're gonna like just use it as an excuse to keep buying luxury items every year, maybe don't. And think about how that is discipling you in a way that's maybe not Christian. Maybe I'll make a plug here for we're gonna work through some episodes on upcoming holidays here over the next month, but then come the new year and post whenever my wife has our baby, we're gonna jump into a new season on discipleship, and what that looks like, what it doesn't, what it means for different people in different stages of life, and I think it's gonna be really fun. So if you have any like topics related to discipleship that you want to see episodes on, feel free to leave a comment in this episode or any of the following ones. Send us a message on Facebook. Tell us what you're thinking as you see us at church or whatever.
Yeah.
I think those are going to be some fun conversations. Yeah.
We're going to get fiery. It's going to be a good time.
Yeah. Not as fiery as Dan Campbell. Speaking of Thanksgiving traditions,
yeah, that's yeah. So to curtail the Black Friday conversation, like the conversations we have around Black Friday, honestly, are probably the same conversations we need to have on a much broader scale, because we
Prime days.
Also, yes, which have also gotten worse. Just because we do live in a very materialistic society. I don't think there are very many people who would try and deny that. So we should ask more questions of, is this good stewardship of the gifts I have been given? Is this a need? Is this a want? Is this a place where I need to work on contentment rather than always wanting the new thing, the shiny thing, whatever? So those are questions we should ask this week, next week, but also probably just more consistently when it comes to how we interact with Target and Amazon, right?
And
or wherever you're,
and Walmart and Best Buy and
Alibaba,
Dick's Sporting Goods. I don't know.
Academy.
Sure.
Yeah. The random aisle that every grocery store has with just the random crap. So that's worth thinking about. The other thing that, and hopefully this won't take long because we're at 37 minutes according to the recording timer, is football.
Football.
Football is the first sport that I've reached this point. I'm a football fan, but I almost feel like I don't have a team. Because, like, we moved to Houston.
Dude, Indiana Jones.
I'm aware. I have been a Colts fan since I was in middle school. No, since I was in elementary school. But I have no actual reason to be a Colts fan. I've never lived in the state of Indiana. I have no relatives, I think, that have really spent significant time in the state of Indiana. No, my aunt by marriage, I think, is from Indiana. And so, like, no real, like, the reason I'm a Colts fan is because the year I started paying attention to football, they won the Super Bowl. And I got tired of the mediocrity without any passion. Like, I had no reason to be passionate for this team. And then we moved to Houston. I was like, you know what? I can root for Houston. Now, granted, the second I made that decision, Indianapolis decides to be one of the best teams in the league, and Houston is not. So I might be bad luck. So I apologize, Texans fans, because it might be my fault. Anyway, but I kind of in the limbo about teams, but football is on a lot in our house. And part of that's because both Chris, my wife, and I are big fantasy football fans. And Thanksgiving, I love Thanksgiving. There's good food and there's football on almost all day. And now there's Black Friday football. And then there's Sunday football. And on Saturday, Vanderbilt's playing Tennessee. Like, it's going to be a football heavy weekend in the laborious household. But every time I watch football, this sport that I enjoy and I watch a lot, there's part of me that wonders, is this sinful to enjoy? Because it is a very violent sport. And I'm just, and I have this question about hockey too.
I think the fact that one of the best players that the game has seen in recent years, Antonio Brown, just got arrested for attempted murder, should maybe be evidence to us that Yeah, yeah, and likely like traumatic brain injury induced violence, attempted murder. Like maybe I have ideas.
I am
You
not
want to hear
looking
my ideas
outside
for
the
how to fix
sport
football?
because here is the thing. You're going to say take away helmets because people are careful with their heads when they don't have helmets on.
Yeah,
Am I right?
yeah.
Yeah. You're very predictable, Ben.
I've
Um,
actually take away all pads. You get a
they
you
can
get a
still wear
rugby
cups,
you get a rugby scrum cap. Yeah, that's fair. You get a rugby scrum cap and a cup, and that's it. And health insurance. Those are the three
cleats,
pieces of.
gloves. No, so I was not talking about greater impact like outside the game because I, especially with like Antonio Brown, like even when he was a player, it's like he's always been pretty full of himself, and there's part of me that's like, do people who do people with violent tendencies tend to end up really good at football, or does football turn people to violence? That's not the question I'm looking to answer today. I'm just saying I love a sport where you watch and the game is built around guys hitting each other. And you say it's about the ball. No, it's about can you tackle the guy with the ball before he gets to the place that you don't want him to go. Okay, it is not quite the Coliseum, but it is still a sport that violence is very much how the sport is properly played. It's not like there are other baseball is the funniest one. Violence is not a proper part of the sport, even though occasionally you'll get guys that will posture at each other. I don't think I've ever seen a professional baseball player actually throw a punch. But
I
you know
have. It was really funny.
they'll bucket each other and they'll clear the benches and
There's two really good recent examples. There was a White Sox player who got kind of mad because he got tagged a little bit aggressive. Or no, backwards. White Sox player was making the tag. Uh, Cleveland Guardians player thought he got tagged a little bit aggressively. The White Sox player decided he was going to throw a punch. The other guy cleaned his clock. It was pretty funny. The other funny one, similar situation, but between a Texas Ranger and a Toronto Blue Jay, and the Blue Jay like actually got knocked out. It was a pretty good punch by Rougned Odor of the Texas Rangers. Um,
but all that to say, violence is not intrinsic to the sport of
yeah,
baseball. Like those actions of those players were frowned upon. Whereas in
in
sports like
suspensions of at least a
football
week.
and hockey, tackling other players is the point. In hockey, like they track hits. It's a stat you get points for in fantasy football or in fantasy hockey is hits. And they don't count like little like you have to really hit them for it to count as a hit. So they're incentivizing.
Well, it depends on who's counting.
It does. It does. Um so I always have the question, is there going to be football in heaven? Is one of my questions.
Flag.
And all the football purists out there are saying that in and of itself is a sin. But then the other question is like,
Well,
because you can tackle
from the
someone with no risk of injury, and that's the goal of the league with all the rules about how you're allowed to tackle. Like their goal is to avoid injury. So maybe football they will just have finally nailed all the right rules down, and people will have immaculate tackling form. I don't know, but this is this is something I ponder during commercials of football games.
we know that there's going to be baseball in heaven because there's been angels in the outfield. We had a field of dreams. Like, can there not be baseball in heaven?
I know a lot of my people love baseball,
And
so I'm
on
not going
that,
to say any offensive.
Josh, you got a empty netter for us this week?
Yeah, enjoy your Thanksgiving holiday and be grateful on a regular basis to God. That's I'm gonna go with that tap in.
I got a wild one for you this week. If you want to authentically celebrate Thanksgiving, have popcorn.
Deal?
Cool.
Before we close, and we're not going to extend this any further, but we missed what would have been the most interesting part of our whole conversation about Thanksgiving. And that is the South Park episode where they verify that Thanksgiving, the Pilgrims and the Indians of the first Thanksgiving were both aliens fighting about stuffing mines in another dimension. Oh, we have failed you, our audience, for not having a lengthy conversation about that. Maybe next year.
Brothers and sisters, with that, go in peace, serve the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
Thank you for listening in to this episode of Cross-Checking, a ministry of Hope and Good Shepherd Lutheran Churches, where we strive to deepen your understanding of the faith and help apply it to daily life. If this podcast is helpful to you, rate the podcast, subscribe to us on your favorite platform, and share it with others who might also gain something from it.